Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. No Lucas. No Robert. I thought I fired Jackson for some reason.
You can't get rid of me, brother. How you doing?
Like a disease. Like something I got to go to the free clinic and get antibiotics for.
Oh, you can't get rid of me with that. You already tried.
We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. Like I said, 615-737-1045. That's the number if you want to get involved. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can interact via the F&M Bank chat. Your commentary is always welcome there throughout the course of the show. You will hear from Titans head coach Mike McCoy today, Cam Ward today, Jeffrey Simmons today, Nate Washington today, Greg Cosell today, because I don't want to work very hard today.
Oh, you don't want to work on Christmas?
I work Christmas every year.
They don't practice tomorrow. You shouldn't. You should take tomorrow off.
Tomorrow I'm not doing anything.
You gonna go see the family?
No. I'm gonna hang at the house.
Oh, the cats?
Yeah.
What'd you get the cats for Christmas?
The gift of living indoors.
Oh, come on.
That's
not even a new
get.
Scratcher?
No.
Upscale
they don't pay rent. No, are you kidding me? You know how much that damn litter box? That's a $900 litter box. That's the most expensive toilet in the house. That's what I'm saying.
You spent $900 on a litter box?
I would spend $900 again to not scoop poop. Correct.
Oh, you don't have to scoop it?
No, it's, you take it out once a week. It's
probably worth it.
It's a lot. See? Thank you. Welcome to the modern era. So, we will be with you, and we will work our way through some football analysis throughout the course of the show today. And we always appreciate your participation, however it is that you want to participate. Jackson will be manning this thing moving forward. Well, not moving forward, just today, thank God. But we will be back in full effect on Monday. We are off the rest of the week, of course. I come to the show today bearing gifts of good news.
Oh, what'd you bring me?
Well, nothing for you. No, you getting to be here is your gift. The gift of self-awareness is what I bring to you, Jackson.
I lost a bet. That's why I'm here.
It was a coin flip between you and Ross and who would have to work Christmas with me, because you know that this is the thing. I like working holidays. I got no problem with it. I did 4 hours of radio from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. last night with Fitzy on Fox.
I know. I was in the studio when you got here.
I woke up this morning. I went to work out at 8 a.m., got a workout in, scared the crap out of Jackson, is what I'll say, because I showed up literally at 10 a.m.
Hey, right on time. I forgot about that, you doing that. I was like, oh, he'll get here.
Oh, were you worried that you would have to do 3 hours? That I just one day I'm just not going to show. One day it'll just I won't say anything to anybody. I'll just disappear.
That's how you get fired. So
well, that's fair.
That's how this ends. No, I didn't.
There's only one way that this ends, and it's just in flaming glory.
I didn't lose a bet to Ross. I lost a bet to Joseph.
I see. Well, now that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I figured. I knew I was going to be here.
It's nothing against him personally. I can't stand the sound of his voice.
I'm surprised you can stand the sound of mine.
Well, again, by degrees. It's how much annoyance am I willing to put up with? And it's, again, there's nothing he can do about it. It's not his fault. I just hate his voice.
What's our over-under on oopsies today?
Ooh.
I haven't done this in a while. I haven't been in this studio in 3.5 months.
There's so little that we really have to do. We've kind of set the show up today so that we have to do as little as humanly possible.
Yeah, but I'm still putting it 3.5.
Well, again, self-awareness is key. So the gifts that I bring to Titans fans today is the gift of actual hope. Is that a sense of confidence that I picked up on in the Titans locker room yesterday? Is that a sense of belief? A sense that they can actually put something together and look like a professional football team for the rest of the regular season? Do you care about that, since you're no longer in the running for the number 1 overall pick? If the draft were to be upon us today, you would be picking 6th in the NFL draft.
Or it's 5th.
No, it's 6th.
What changed that?
Is that your first oopsie of the day?
No, I looked at Tankathon, I think Monday.
Well, as I sit here looking at Tankathon, that's the NBA, not the NFL, the Tennessee, that's weird. What happened to bump them up from, did I just make an oopsie?
First oopsie of the day to Buck Rising.
How did that happen? They were 6th on Sunday. Either way, 5th. Okay. Merry Christmas to you. You get an extra spot in the draft order. But I think with all of the things that you have throughout the course of the rest of this season, which is really just Sunday and then week 18 in Jacksonville, I like the idea that they're feeling themselves a little bit. The Titans have won 2 of their last 3 games in this economy. Can you imagine? After 412 days without a win at Nissan Stadium, they get one, and now they're contemplating the impossible. They could win back-to-back games against the New Orleans Saints.
And they've been, dare I say, fun to watch.
Let's not get nuts.
They were fun to watch on Sunday.
Yeah, Cam was good.
And that's what makes them fun to watch. There's no other part of this team that makes them fun to watch other than Cam.
No, Jeff.
Jeff.
I genuinely enjoy. Jeff Simmons has been awesome this season. I'm genuinely enjoying the Jeff Simmons experience. I wish he was doing it on a better football team for his sake. I know that he's committed to gutting this thing out and being a part of the turnaround and all of the good things. So we're pleased with the effort that Jeff has put in. Now, talking to players in the locker room yesterday, Jeff Simmons among them. Cam Ward spoke yesterday. We'll hear from Mike McCoy at about 10:30 before we get in Greg Cosell and Nate Washington throughout the rest of the show today. But I'd like to start with Peter Skoronski, who was asked a couple of questions about their upcoming opponent, the New Orleans Saints, who are also in a similar situation and also playing pretty solid football towards the back half of the season. And the idea that, in a similar situation between these two teams, both of them are operating with a degree of confidence.
And kind of on a downswing, but these guys they're rolling. I think they're on 2 or 3 in a row. So that's always tough teams to play because it's kind of a momentum league. So that's tough, but I think we have a lot of confidence too in what we've been able to do. So it should be a great matchup.
What's the vibe been like around here after winning 2 of your last 3?
I would say confident, like I just said. Especially offensively, being able to do what we did and score points finally and really play complimentary in that game like I think we did on Sunday. I think everyone's just feeling confident about what we can do out there.
Is that, you mentioned it, complimentary football you guys were able to play the other day. Is that something you can take with you week to week? I know that's the goal.
Better be. I think that's the winning formula in any football game ever. So, yeah, I think that's huge, and got to keep that going.
So, that's a different tenor than you've heard them take at any point, and that's just one player. That's Peter Skoronski, who's playing at a really high level this season and has been throughout the course of the regular season. It's just taken, 16 weeks of football for the rest of them to catch up. Well, I wouldn't say they've caught up to Peter Skoronski's level, but you understand my point. The point is that I value that. I value that belief in themselves infinitely more than I do where you are in the draft order. And maybe I sound like a bit of a broken record with this thing because I feel like I've been on this since Cleveland. I don't care about your draft picks. I mean, I care about your draft picks some. I care that you hit on your draft picks. I care that you're competent. I care that this, whatever the hell six-headed former general manager monster that you put in the front office actually gets the job done. I care that Mike Borgonzi delivers on his part of the bargain and starts to right the wrongs of his predecessors, plural. I care that Chad Brinker gives Mike Borgonzi everything that he needs to be able to succeed in this process. And I care that Amy Adams Strunk makes good decisions moving forward as far as the next head coach of this franchise in conjunction with the people that she's hired to make these football decisions. I care that they get it right. I don't think that they should just be in a situation, or that fans should want them in a situation where you're saying, no, it's a terrible thing. No, the best possible draft pick is the only cure for what ails the Titans. No, actual competency at every level. Instead of just relying on the best possible draft pick to somehow microwave your results, that's how you get this thing done. You have to be a competent, functional, on the same page organization at every level of this thing, and everybody has to understand everything in service of Cam Ward moving forward. That's the sense that I got in the locker room yesterday, that they're actually believing that they're capable of this. And it's not like the guys who are on one-year deals or the dudes who are on expiring contracts or for people that would throw their hands up in the air and say, what do I care about winning at the end of the season? And I really don't think there's that many of them, but I'm here to grab the non-believers by the shoulders and shake them vigorously and tell them that they're idiots for thinking that winning doesn't matter in the NFL, that winning at the end of the day is still the most important thing. They need to think that they can do this. Peter Skoronski says he hasn't won back-to-back games since college, since 2020. This is a broken situation that the only way out of is for them to show that they're capable of competing with other NFL clubs on a regular basis. And for the last 3 weeks, they've kind of done that. 2 of their last 3, they've gotten it done. Inferior opponents, that's fine. Chiefs, not necessarily somebody you'd consider inferior, but they certainly were on Sunday. And the Titans beat the hell out of them, which is what we've been asking them to do. Just beat somebody that's worse than you. The Chiefs were worse than you. And they took them out back and old yellered them. Sent them home. Maybe that's a little bit strong.
A little strong for the Christmas Eve morning kind of vibe.
This is what I'm not doing a Christmas show.
But
I'm doing a show.
How much do you think because last year, I'm not saying, the team thought this, but for fans who are still non-believers, last year you wanted this team to lose so they could go get their quarterback. How much do you think that they're just like, oh, here we go again, back in the same mode? They need to lose.
From a fan base standpoint?
Yeah, from a fan base standpoint. Because last year, you needed your quarterback, so you needed this team to lose. Because it was clear Will Levis wasn't the answer.
So I go back and forth on that because I'm somebody who would have been just as happy with them taking the veteran quarterback route than I would have drafting Cam Ward. And I'm not saying that I'm not happy that Cam Ward is making progress and all of these different things. I'm just saying I would have taken either one. They could have solved the quarterback situation in a number of ways. They opted to turn down trade offers and take Cam Ward, and that's their guy, and that's fine. Okay, stick with have the courage of your conviction and move forward as a result. Just make sure you get everything damn right around him because your margin for error becomes way more slim when you got a guy coming in here for the first time. And I'm not saying that you should never draft a quarterback or never draft a first-round quarterback or whatever. I'm just saying it's not the only thing that you have to do. I don't think it was as definitive as that. I think fans want it to be draft the savior of the franchise. All right, well, the hit rate on those guys, the washout rate on those guys is through the roof. More than half of them, I think it's at last count, and I probably need to readjust or rerun the numbers since we've gotten through this season with a couple of first-round picks playing quarterback. But the percentage of first-round picks drafted by the organization, their original organization, don't even go on to start a playoff game. More than 50%. I think it's more than 54% prior to this season didn't win a playoff game for the team that drafted them as first-round picks at quarterback. And I'm not just talking about number 1 overall picks. I'm talking about any of them. There are some exceptions. Titans fans are hoping that Cam Ward is exceptional. I don't think that there are so many of those players that are going to change the fortunes of your franchise. I think you can get it done with about 80% of the quarterbacks in the NFL, provided that you do the right things around them. It's just so rarely the teams actually do the right things around him. I think Tannehill's a perfect example. He hit his ceiling against the Bengals. You can say that was always going to happen, that you knew it was going to happen, even though it didn't happen until it finally did. That's fine. I think that you can win with that level of quarterback play in the NFL. I think you can play in meaningful games. I think you can make postseason runs. I think you give yourself just as high a percentage chance of achieving your ultimate goal with that route, building the best possible team and dropping a quarterback into a ready-made situation as you do drafting the quarterback and, hoping, praying, wishing, and, ultimately strategizing him as the plan moving forward. I honestly think it's harder to do the way that they're doing it. That's the way that they choose to do it. We'll see how it pans out for them. I am fascinated to see what these next 2 games look like. I'm curious to see what he looks like head-to-head against Tyler Shuck. I might argue, because the Jackson Dart thing has had highs, but it's had much lower lows than any of them.
Did you see what he did this weekend?
This past weekend? No, I actually didn't.
He had 33 yards passing.
Well, didn't he get checked for concussion again?
No.
No, that was 2 weeks ago, maybe.
No, he had 40 total yards, 7 yards rushing, 33 passing.
That's
for a
disgusting.
4-quarter game.
Okay, so
That's kind of that's bad.
It's not great.
That's
not great.
That's bad.
I am very impressed with Tyler Shuck. Somebody sent me an article the other day that was written in a local publication in New Orleans, and I'll pull it up just so I'm reading the exact quotes here. But it was a very definitive, or at least it's the start. Jeff Duncan, who's covered the Saints in New Orleans for a long, long time. This Jeff Duncan column starts with, Tyler Shuck is him. If you didn't know it before Sunday, you know it now. This was 2 weeks ago when this was written. The New Orleans Saints have their quarterback. Shuck is the guy for the present, the future, and everything in between. If anyone doubted Shuck's credentials as the team's franchise quarterback, they were eliminated once and for all after the rookie quarterback authored another dramatic come-from-behind victory on Sunday. This was after upsetting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints have, again, not been a good football team by any stretch of the imagination, but they've looked competent. They're a 5-10 football team, and they're doing it with a rookie quarterback who didn't have to start at the very onset of the season with Spencer Rattler out there. But 2 of the 3 games that they've won in a row before they come to Nissan Stadium on Sunday, 2 divisional opponents. They beat the Bucs. They beat the Panthers, who are currently leading their division, and they smoked the Jets this past weekend, 29-6. Now, you could say it's the Jets. What really is the NFC South? What's the degree of competition? I don't think, because the question was posed to me, I got sent that snippet from an article, and I was asked, has anyone written something that definitive about Cam Ward this year, or him give a media member the feeling that they needed to write this, perhaps for the first time, maybe Sunday against the Chiefs or whatever. But like the question was asked of me, has anybody in Titans media come out that definitively for Cam Ward as answer, cure-all? I mean, that's as glowing an endorsement from an objective media member. Jeff Duncan doesn't work for the Saints or anything like that. It's another one. It's a different version of us, but in New Orleans. And I couldn't say, I would not get out there right now after seeing Cam Ward battle through a really tough situation, string together 3 good weeks, 2 wins, 2 performances back-to-back where I thought he played reasonably high-level football. I still don't think that I could definitively say the kind of thing that's being written in New Orleans about Tyler Shuck, which is Shuck is the guy for the present, the future, and everything in between. Now, that's what you're trying to accomplish. That's what you're trying to learn about Cam Ward. But I don't know, Jackson, you're a Titans fan. Do you feel as strongly about Cam Ward as New Orleans seems to feel about Tyler Shuck?
I mean, yeah, because I'm a Titans fan. But
But why? Like, just because you're a Titans fan and you're like, all right, that's my guy.
That's the guy.
But you're manifesting it, right?
Yeah, it's more of a manifesting. I think the last couple of weeks have bolstered my original, because I came into the season with preconceived notions that he's the guy. That was my preconceived notion heading into the season. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, you go in as a fan of a team picking number 1 overall, looking at Cam Ward, seeing the offseason coverage, seeing the attitude, seeing the clips of him head-to-head with Shador, all these different things that get you juiced about Cam Ward, seeing him he's a spectacular college player. There's no disputing that.
And the Tubi documentary, did you watch that yet?
Hell no.
Me neither, man. If it would have came out like the week in between preseason and regular season, that was when you dropped that. The middle of December, I don't care.
Yeah, they were going to run it out in September, and then it got delayed. To your point, if it was in the middle of July and we had nothing to talk about,
it would have been perfect.
It's just one of those things.
They spent a lot of money promoting it.
They are pushing it in a lot of different places.
I saw it during the CFP.
But I don't know. It's just, that's not for me, I guess. Like everything that I and maybe this is not a safe assumption, so maybe I shouldn't be as jaded. But all of the things about how Cam Ward became Cam Ward, didn't I just spend 6 months talking about that en route to them drafting Cam Ward? My entire position on this And it's not 6 parts. It was initially marketed as a 6-part Tubi documentary. I think it's 3.
I don't know.
Either way, whatever it is. It's an admirable story. It's fine. I mean, isn't Fernando Mendoza basically doing the same thing? So right after Cam Ward does all of these things and zero-star recruit and all that, and I don't know if Mendoza was a zero-star recruit, but he certainly wasn't a highly touted recruit. It's just kind of a different version of it. So yeah, now once we've had the most unheralded number 1 overall pick of all time, anyway, we don't have to get bogged down in that. I'm happy for him. I hope he got paid for it. That's all I care about. Did he get paid a fair value for it? And if it makes him happy and it makes his family happy, then that's all that matters. And if it makes Titans fans happy, that's cool too.
But I think your article from, was it Sunday? You posted that article about this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, that's the game that I've been waiting for sure.
That's how I kind of felt. I felt in the back of my mind that he could be this level of player, and I'm starting to see that development. I'm starting to see not the game slow down as much, but kind of that where, he's kind of getting to a point where I'm comfortable going into next year with a level of hope higher than previously would have thought through 11 weeks.
I think there were people optimistic about Will Levis at the end too, for different reasons. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point throughout the course of the show. Have you seen enough to be definitively in on Cam Ward today? I think, and this is not a popular opinion, I think the interim Titans head coach, Mike McCoy, and the people working under Mike McCoy have actually done a pretty nice job with him given the circumstance. So we'll hear from Mike McCoy at the podium as the Titans get or continue their practice week. They did practice yesterday in a bit of a schedule adjustment. Mike McCoy next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Is Hattie B's open on Christmas? Maybe that's what I'll do for Christmas.
I hope
tomorrow.
so.
That would be delightful. I hope they give people the day off. I would assume that most places do. I usually feel like I've had games on Christmas, maybe not last year, but the last couple of years. So I haven't had to actually make Christmas plans in a while.
Yeah, they played on Christmas Eve the first couple of years I was here.
Yeah, this is the last 2 years. I feel like I haven't had a Christmas game necessarily. They do have practice today. Mike McCoy will speak here shortly, and we will carry that press conference live for you as the Titans get ready to host the Saints. Again, the conversation becomes, in a year where they are just trying to achieve at any level, whether you consider it to be meaningful or not, it would be a huge deal if they were, for the first time since 2022, able to win back-to-back games. Mike McCoy at the podium now.
We got a lot to be grateful for, so I hope everyone has a great holiday with their families, kids, relatives, everything. There's nothing like it, especially when you have little kids, and even my old kids, 23 and 26. It's going to be a great day. With that being said, the only one we're going to rule out right now is Marcus. Unfortunately, he'll be done for the year, which is, it's tough because he's worked so hard, and what he's done for this football team. You're late, man. He can pay the fine. Whoever's collecting fines for him. But it's just the way he's worked, the way he's played. He's gotten better every week. The position flexibility, as we saw, as we moved him around this year, but he's got a really bright future. So with that being said, we had a great practice yesterday. We're gonna have another great one today, and then the players are gonna get away this afternoon and spend Christmas with their families and everything. Come back and finish the preparation, the practice week on Friday with a great practice, and go get another win at home. That's the big thing. Finish at home the right way. It was a great environment. We played our best game of the year against the Chiefs at home. So now we got to find a way to play better this week against the Saints. With that, I'll open it up to you guys.
Can Marcus just rest and get better, or you're at liberty to say there?
Well, they're kind of, it's kind of, hopefully he can rest for a while and everything settles down, and obviously they'll reevaluate it as time goes on to see how he's feeling, and kind of just go from there.
With the chance you've had to look at Femi this last week or two, what's the likelihood you would say of him or Bryce or Ollie or any of these guys?
Well, just like we've been saying from the first day they got back out there, it's just with all three of those guys of if they're ready and they can be themselves, and it's the right thing to do, we'll bring them up and let them play. But if they're not really where we need them to be, we're gonna, they won't play. So it's still, it's in, honestly, with each of them, it's day to day, kind of see where we're at, push them through things. The good thing now is they're picking it up daily and doing a little more. Obviously, yesterday was a walkthrough practice. Today we'll pick up the tempo a little bit, so we'll do some more things with them, individual periods, things like that, to get them move a little bit more. So it's truly just a day at a time and see where we're at and see where they're at. So the number one thing is any of those guys that get back, or like any return to play, is you want the guys to go out there and be themselves and not worry about anything else. So they can cut it loose and have success.
For a while, maybe after he came off the injury, seems to have settled down now. How much is that the case from the inside? And how confident are you now that he's the long-term right tackle for this thing?
I think if you ask any of the linemen, what's helped them the past month is the running game. And you're not just dropping back and throwing it X number of times. So I think, give all five of the guys credit up front for how they've played the last month especially. And I think anyone's job, especially at tackle, when you run the ball 35, 40 times a game, you're not worrying about dropping back 30 or 40 times a game. so it makes it a lot better. So I'm very pleased with the way JC's been playing. There's been, it's a tough, like I've told you guys all year long, that playing tackle in this league is tough with the guys you're playing against. So there's going to be some ups and downs. And, he's had a game or two that he wishes he could have played a little better. And then there's the games he's played extremely well. So that's part of the business, especially against who he's going against. But I'm pleased with where he's at.
How fun was that, I guess, yesterday to announce Jeffrey and Chim in the team meeting about being Pro Bowlers?
Yeah, that we kind of changed it up a little bit. Let Rock go first and announce Jeff. It's just, it's awesome to see the way Jeff plays week in and week out, the way he leads this football team, the best player on defense in the league. He dominates every week. He does everything. It's great to see it. And he deserves it. Just so happy for him, especially after being out for a little bit too. The way he came back, he was pushing, trying to get back as soon as he could, and just wasn't. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and it's like, whoa, this guy is dominating. So it's great to see. They're very happy with how he's played all year long, and it's a great honor anytime you're announced to be in the Pro Bowl. And then from there it got crazy, and I think once I announced there's one more, I think everybody knew who it was going to be. And then once Bones started walking down, the place went crazy, and there really wasn't much for Bones to say. And you saw the reaction. I know they posted it, but the really neat thing for me, I was over in the front corner there, and just to see like guys like Jeff and all the veterans, they were the first ones to stand up and kind of get really excited for it. So it's such a special group of players. But for Jim to have the rookie season he's had and still have a couple games left, it's just exciting. But it's special to see the way the whole entire group responded once we announced both these guys. We got a special group of guys here. So, but what a great honor for both of them.
A lot of talk about how this team is feeling more confident with 2 wins in the last 3 games. How much are you seeing that, not just in the locker room, practice field, but in the games?
Well, I think we've always said from day one, you always want to be playing your best football in December and January, and that's exactly what we're doing. Having gone on the road to Cleveland, play the way we did, get a win. Unfortunately, we didn't win the next one, and then to play our best game of the year against a really good team in Kansas City, just give all these players, coaches, everybody in the organization credit for the way we've just continue to keep working. And, we've talked about growth all year long, and you see how we've played week in and week out. And, the rewarding thing to me, or the great thing to see, is the way the coaches have worked. Defensively, we've played a number of guys in the secondary, and just each week, somebody goes down and then somebody else goes down. They just keep going. They keep playing. And just, James, Sed doesn't play last week, and James comes in, and look what James does. He leads the team in tackles, the way he played, the way he ran around. We get another block kick in the kicking game. It's complementary football, and that's what it's all about is, I mentioned last week we had 24 points in the last 2 weeks off of turnovers and then the block. So it's special to see the way the guys have played. But to be honest with you, it's not shocking at all. It was just a matter of time for us to get over that hump, win one of them, and get rolling, and that's what we've done. So they played some good football. Now the challenge is, how do you play better this week? And that's the big thing, is you want to start stacking wins up, especially at home in front of our fans for the last time of the season. But that's the big challenge, continue to get better.
Talked about special group of guys and holding together and all that. Doesn't seem to have been, maybe you could correct me, like a theme or a person or anything to rally around. What do you think's been the glue that's held this team together and has it playing its best at the end of a bad season?
Well, when we first talked way back when the New England week, I talked about sticking together, and that's been one message week in and week out. Is we're playing together. We're a group. Where it's an organization. We're one, and it's great leadership on the football team. When you have the leaders that we have and the way they play, you see, you never heard Tony Pollard complain at all during the season. There was frustrations. There were certain things. He wasn't getting a ton of carries, and now look, we start running the ball, and look what he does. But he's unselfish. He just keeps working. He keeps going. and now it's paying off. And it's because of guys like him that are unselfish and just want to help the team and do whatever's asked of him, the reason we're playing the way we are now. But I think it just, and I've said it a million times, we got a great group of people from top down in this organization. It's everybody involved, everybody on the practice field. We go out there, and I've said from day one that we're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy this. It's an honor and privilege to play this game. And I'll just go back and, just watch Phillip Rivers' interviews and his press conferences, and just the appreciation, the love for the game, all those things. He's a great example. If you just look at it and see what does it mean to play this game, well, that's the way our guys play the game. And it's awesome to see the way they work day in and day out and what they've done and to get where we are today. And in a tough year, it has not been easy.
I'm sorry, to continue on Phillip for a second, non-Titans question. For him to be an effective quarterback option at 44, nearly 5 years off, really be a better option than a lot of the guys in the league right now. What does that maybe say about the power of like a great quarterback mind to, do what he's doing?
Well, I was very fortunate to be able to work with him for 4 years. He's one of the best to ever play the game, future Hall of Famer. Now it's delayed a couple years because of what he's done. But he's one of the best. And he's one of those, when you have someone like him on your team, or any young player today that goes and watches the game, I would highly recommend you watch the TV copy, or if you get any mic'd up version, to see how he is and how he plays, and just his truly love for the game. And when you get a great one like that, it's special. And he's the game. The NFL is better with guys like him in it. And he's a special human being. He's a special person. I can't say enough good things about him. I'm just really happy for him, the way what he's done and how he's gone to try to help that organization, help Shane, who obviously we were together in San Diego with.
What's been behind the Saints' resurgence?
Good play. I think in all three phases, the way the defense has played, they've done a really good job. And they obviously made the quarterback change. He's been playing very efficiently, making some big plays. He gets out of the pocket. That's something you got to do, is contain him, keep him in the pocket. But Kellen's always done an outstanding job with offenses, and he's got them rolling. And it's a matter. It's very similar to us. It's the first year in a system with a new staff, offense, defense, kicking game, things like that, getting everyone going, and it takes some time to get rolling. And the past month plus, they've been playing some really good football.
Go ahead. How is this offense, the success from this offense, kind of building the future, the foundation for this program?
Well, I think that's what we've been trying to do week in and week out. You're always trying to get better. And you're always trying to get better for, I always tell the players and talk about, hey, you're always playing for your future. And it's just today's practice, you're trying to get better to help down the road. And as we go, and then each week you're trying to play better every Sunday. We talked about, help teaching these guys how to win, things like that. So you're always trying to improve and play better for the next game, the next year, whatever that is as a player. And that's always been something we focused on in the meetings and talking to players, is how can we play better for the next one? And I think obviously being towards the end of the season, you want to finish the right way. And you always talk about that, during the season, regardless of what your record is, you want to finish the right way. So whenever the season is over, you're moving off, you're heading the right direction. We said, hey, we finished strong and we got a bright future.
As you observe this rookie class, specifically on offense, how have you seen those guys grow? Gunner, Chim, Io Manor, obviously Cam as well.
Well, the neat thing about it is, and you guys don't see it, is the amount of time they spend together, not on the field, but in the facility. There's plenty of late nights you walk through there in one of the meeting rooms, and they're all in there together, and there's other players with them. But it's a unique group, the way they've all worked together, and the number of guys. And there's so many of them playing early on and, majority of the season. But just to see the way they've played, and I think you're starting to see it, and we've been seeing it for a while, but just the communication, it's a lot easier. The more reps you take with each other, you play faster. Cam's communication with those guys. Early on, there might be, whether it's the off-season program, training camp, maybe preseason game early in the year, there might be some communication things that, people are, taking another look at it, and it's not happening like that. And I think now the past couple weeks, it's picking up a lot. And some of the things Cam has done, obviously the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to be. The check first cover zero, and it was no one flinched. Where if you go back a couple months and we do that, it might be a little bit slower. So I think it's just give all those guys, give all the rookies and the coaching staff a ton of credit for the way they've worked and the growth, and we see where they are from a couple months back. So very pleased with how they worked and how they've played all season long. All right, well, have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Okay, that's Titans interim coach Mike McCoy. We can react to some of what he said and have a little bit of conversation about two embattled quarterbacks who will not be participating in the postseason for the first time in quite some time. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, Kwanzaa, whatever you might be hosting at your home this holiday season, there is no worse time to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time so you're not wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So you can book online today at happyhiller.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. All I want for Christmas is some Hattie B's. I don't know if they're open today. I was just going to say they're Middle Tennessee locations. I could probably check that for you if I was so inclined. But on a normal situation, on a normal day, Hattie B's locations open everywhere in the Middle Tennessee area at 11 o'clock. So you can check the Hattie B's app or check online at HattieB.com and see if they are, in fact, open on Christmas Eve if you got a hot chicken craving. There are two quarterbacks who are not going to participate in the postseason this year that we have basically had as a part of our lives for the better part of a decade in the playoffs. That's Lamar Jackson. We don't know that the Ravens are going to be eliminated yet, but they're not tracking well. The Steelers have an advantage on them. It doesn't seem like that Week 18 game between the Ravens and the Steelers is going to matter. Suppose we could always leave things up for debate, but the Steelers are playing pretty good football right now. 36-year-old, the old heads for the Steelers. Cam Hayward, Jeff Simmons is the best defensive tackle in football this year. Cam Hayward might be second. He's 36. Got a 41-year-old quarterback playing maybe not at the peak of his powers, certainly not at the peak of his powers.
He's playing well enough for them to win games, though.
He is. So Lamar Jackson is not eliminated yet, but it's tracking that way. Patrick Mahomes is, obviously. And I wonder, as we talk about, teams trying to ascend and can the Titans recreate what got the Jags off the mat or the Patriots' formula for success this year or all these different comparisons that you're going to be looking at all offseason long to say, can my team do that? Whether you're a Titans fan, a Browns fan, a Giants fan, whatever, any of the bottom feeders, right? Vegas is a mess.
Vegas,
Woof.
I don't know how that's going to get turned around.
I think Pete Carroll's, I wonder for as many coaches as we think are going to get fired, if Pete Carroll's not the only other one that gets fired.
Pete Carroll, next offensive coordinator for the Tar Heels?
No, that's Bobby Petrino.
Oh, but he'll get fired in a year. So next year.
Well, no, he'll lead a coup, and then he'll try to usurp Belichick.
And that won't work because Belichick and Sam Pittman, different levels.
Yes.
So then Pete Carroll, offensive coordinator, Tar Heels 2027.
Well, Pete would be a defensive guy. So
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, Pete is not an offensive.
I always thought he was an offensive mind at USC.
That's not his background necessarily. I mean, I'm sure he's familiar. But.
Next defensive coordinator for the Tar Heels? I bet they're firing their DC too. They were abysmal this season.
Well, his DC isn't his DC his son?
Oh, yeah. Nepotism strikes again.
Foiled again.
Foiled again by nepotism.
All right. Is Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes got injured, right? But they were out of that game. They weren't going to win that game. He got injured. He tore his ACL late in the game. Lamar has been dealing with injury. He left that Patriots game with a back injury, much to Robert Walsh's chagrin. Do they get a pass this year? Because we've seen excellent quarterbacks, MVP candidates, Super Bowl champions. We've seen guys miss the postseason before, and the Ravens and Chiefs have been on pretty nice runs here. Do they get a pass? Does Joe Burrow get a pass?
I feel like Joe Burrow's gotten a pass for a while.
Well, I believe this is the third consecutive postseason that they will not be a part of.
Have they not made the playoffs since they beat the Titans? Or did they make it the next year?
I want to say they were in it the next year.
But they haven't made it since then.
I believe that is correct.
So, Burrow was hurt most of the year. So you kind of have to give him a pass.
Yeah, but then he came back and they beat the Ravens the way that they did. And then he comes out. No, I'm sorry. Who did he beat in his first game back? Was it Baltimore? I want to say it was Baltimore. Because then they followed that up a couple weeks later by getting shut out by Baltimore. Maybe that's too close in conjunction. He had a big game against somebody. I want to say it was the Ravens. Anyway, I wonder how the conversation around all of these quarterbacks, not named Josh Allen, that are usually sitting at the top of the AFC goes this offseason. If it's just going to be like, all right, hiccup here, injury there, bound to happen at some point. Let's see what happens. Or are we really seeing some kind of decline from all three of these franchises that have these superstar quarterbacks that we think should be able to carry you to a certain extent, but the workload has gotten a lot heavier on those three in the last couple of years.
So he beat Baltimore in his first game back November 27th.
That's right.
With 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lost to the Bills the next week, but he threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and
And Josh Allen went Super
284.
Saiyan in the,
Yeah,
in the
I mean,
second half of that game.
That was just
Yeah.
great football. That
And
was,
then they
that was
played
a great game.
Baltimore again the following week, right?
Yes,
then
and
they got
were
shut out.
Shut out, 24-0.
Right, and that's when he's messaging about how little fun he's having and all these different things. I don't know. I'm fascinated to see what the dialogue around the three of them is. I don't think Joe Burrow's actually going to get moved, and it doesn't sound like Zach Taylor's going to get fired. So, it'll be an
Really?
interesting. I don't think so. I
They are
really
so
don't.
slow to fire, though. I mean, Marvin Lewis hung around there for.
Nobody credible in Cincinnati covering that team thinks that Zach Taylor is out. I just don't know what he's supposed to do about that defense other than, make better decisions as far as the coordinators. But I don't think Al Golden's getting fired either. Either way. Do I have things to give away?
You do.
What do I have to give away?
You have 2 tickets to this weekend's home finale at Nissan Stadium, Titans Saints, this Sunday. If you call in with the dumbest thing in sports, 615-737-1045.
You can be in the house for the first time where the Titans try to win back-to-back games.
Well, it's not their first attempt.
Certainly not their first attempt, but they may actually do it.
They haven't had that many attempts.
Few and far between. Either way, if you want Titans and Saints tickets, just call in next, 615-737-1045, like Jackson said, and give us the dumbest thing in sports.
It is 11:04. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs Studio. The league has upheld its 2-game suspension for Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf after his altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit against the Lions. The fan's actions and interaction with the Pro Bowl wide receiver is still under review, and the league will be in touch with the Lions regarding the fan code of conduct. NFL is in action throughout the holiday weekend, as tomorrow you can catch the Cowboys and Commanders as they go head-to-head in D.C. Kickoff for that one is at noon on Netflix. Also on Netflix, the 3:30 game as the Lions head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And wrapping up Christmas Day action, the Broncos head to Kansas City to take on the shorthanded Chiefs. Kickoff at 7 on Amazon Prime. If that doesn't excite you, better football on the horizon as Saturday the Texans head to L.A. to take on the Chargers in SoFi Stadium. That game on NFL Network at 3:30. Ravens head to Green Bay to take on the Packers at 7 on Peacock. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Six 615-737-1045. What's the dumbest thing in sports this week? If you tell us the dumbest thing in sports this week, if you give us the best and the dumbest submission, we will send you to the Titans and the Saints at Nissan Stadium on Sunday, the last game at Nissan Stadium. And ironically enough, the Titans are playing the best football that they've played all year. So now Nissan Stadium will be a less miserable place than it has been. They've actually won a game at home for the first time in 412 days this past Sunday. So perhaps a little bit more entertainment value. It doesn't mean anything for either of these teams, other, save the draft position, I suppose.
Pride.
Yeah, sure. And listen, I was looking forward to last week. I thought Minshew was going to go out there and we're just going to have a fun and weird time, and it didn't turn out that way, but whatever. So we'll see what Shuck versus Ward looks like on Sunday. And if you would like to be there, just give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. But speaking of Nissan Stadium, the dumbest thing in sports this week is the Titans touchdown song. I love Johnny Cash. I feel like most people love Johnny Cash. Maybe there's different segments of the population, maybe in youthful ignorance, generations that are younger than me or generations younger than just the general populace are not in on the Johnny Cash experience. I love Johnny Cash. I love the story of Johnny Cash. I love basically every song of Johnny Cash. The Tennessee Titans have made me hate the song Ring of Fire. It is the worst touchdown celebration song in the league. I was reminded of this because I haven't been at Nissan Stadium while they've been scoring touchdowns in quite some time. So it has not been there to trigger me for a long time.
How long has it been a touchdown song?
I don't think that long.
I don't think so. The last Titans game I went to was the Bengals playoff game, and it was not the touchdown song then.
I don't remember if it was that they wrote their own song, like that Tighten Up song that they had.
The Tighten Up, that one equally is not good.
No, I mean they're not. It's like I don't love the Dolphins song. Like I'm not saying that there's any great works of art out there, but I'm saying nothing feels like more of a wet blanket than
Ring of Fire.
Than the trumpet thing for Ring of Fire.
You can hear it on the broadcast. It's actually like during the extra point, like when Joey Sly's out there kicking it, you hear like the dun, 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 dun.
And it's a shame because it's a wonderful song.
But it doesn't get you excited.
No.
Like that's never been the intention of the music, is to get people excited. Like when you're in Neyland Stadium and the Vols score, and you hear Rocky Top, that gets you excited.
Yeah.
Because it's upbeat, it's got the band's rocking, like that is a touchdown song or a big play, an interception, they play it pretty much any time, but that is a song that gets you excited. Or any fight song in college football. I think the NFL has done a horrible job at implementing that into their game.
Here's why I think it's particularly dumb. I think it's dumb because I'm terrified they're going to stick with it moving forward. Because somebody in marketing, some executive somewhere in a suit, sitting in a conference room somewhere in the bowels of the Titans offices, decided that the new 77,000 square foot
LED.
No, it's not that big. 77,000 square foot? Surely not. Is that
it
the
wraps
stadium?
around the whole. No, it's like like the ribbons, like on each, like right below the club level.
29,575 square feet. The new LED system,
Yeah,
the new
it's like
LED
the
screen.
little banner thing,
Yeah,
right?
I knew 77,000. That's outrageous. I was
It's
that's
giant.
not right. 29,575. Somebody in marketing decided we're going to call it the Ring of Fire. And in principle, that's fine. Like, you got the flaming thumbtack logo. You got, I guess, I don't know, Fire, Titans, whatever. I
They
don't.
lit the field on fire that one time. Said 2019 against the Colts.
Ooh, yeah, it was the day that they retired Eddie George and Steve McNair's jerseys.
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they lost.
All right, shut up and let me get through this. Somebody in marketing decided that the new LED system in the new Nissan Stadium is going to be called Ring of Fire, and I'm terrified that somebody's going to think it's a good idea to stick with Johnny Cash as the touchdown song just because you want to call the LED thing Ring of Fire. If you want to call it that, that's fine. Please, God, pick something else. The in-stadium atmosphere at Nissan Stadium sucks.
Bring back the pain train.
It's so bad. I say this as somebody who is not a Titans fan and who's not attending these games as a fan, and I'm sitting inside in the press box, and so maybe I'm the wrong person to have this opinion. I don't know. I feel like I speak for the vast majority of people that the Ring of Fire is terrible, and you can find something with a little more juice.
Yeah, you need more juice, especially like some of these touchdowns in these games have been tough. Like, it's the meme, Chris Paul hits a massive three to cut the lead to 40.
Yeah.
And like Ring of Fire, like it just makes you angry at that point.
What's your dumbest thing in sports this week?
I think it's obvious, DK Metcalf and this fan interaction.
It's bad.
He suspended the remainder of the regular season. This could help the Ravens because obviously they need the Steelers to lose out, and being out your number one wide receiver is not going to help you win games, the last two games of the season. So this interaction obviously goes viral on Sunday, and everyone, the minute you saw it, you're, oh yeah, he's going to be suspended for a while. So 2 games upheld by the league this morning announced, and I don't know what was said.
Yeah, it's not what DK Metcalf alleged.
They're both dumb. They're idiots. They're both dumb.
This is the dumber part of that. It voids $45 million in guaranteed money. It voids $45 million. He has a clause in his contract that means the suspension voids $45 million in guarantees. I think his deal had $60 million guaranteed in it. The new deal that the Steelers gave him after they traded for him, $45 million. They don't owe him anymore. This suspension has been upheld, so the Steelers are off the hook.
They're off the hook for $45 million. So he's how long was the deal? 3 years, 45, I'm assuming?
I want to say it was a longer deal than that. I don't have the details in front of me. You can look that up while I take some calls. 615-737-1045 is the number. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those Titans tickets if you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. We will start the bidding with James.
Hey, good morning, guys. Before I even get to it, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying about the in-game entertainment. It sucks. They took away the pain train. Last thing I want to hear is Florida-Georgia line trying to get me hype at a football game.
Ugh.
Start playing some 3-6 Mafia. Play some Juicy J. We brought him out a couple years ago for a game. But anyways, my dumbest thing in sports, it was going to be DK Metcalf, but I saw something over the weekend that the Los Angeles Chargers did that was utterly just stupid. So they had one of their guys mic'd up, and he was going against one of the Cowboys players, Cooper Beebe, I believe is his name. But Cooper was yelling something pre-snap. They saw formation, so he was yelling it out. I think he said whole R, which is something they say. And one of the Chargers players, I guess, misunderstood him and thought he was yelling a racial slur, is what I'm assuming. And so the Chargers posted this on Twitter, and they were bleeping out what Cooper said. And people were like, oh, my gosh, he said the N-word or a racial slur. And Cooper quoted the tweet and said, quote unquote, literally said whole R ? That's our call versus Abbey front. Imagine bleeping out what I said to make me seem like a racist. You guys are a POS at Chargers. So it's got to go to the Chargers PR team or their media team.
Yeah, I'm seeing this now.
Stupid.
Thank you for the call, James.
Thanks, guys.
It's a good submission.
The audio?
I mean, he didn't say it, so yeah, I guess.
Well, it's bleep. This would be the Chargers audio. Not yet. I just asked if you wanted it.
Oh, no, I thought you had it. Oh, I forgot. You're not good at your job.
Yeah. Oopsie.
Yeah.
We're even, though. We're even.
It's a push. Yeah, that's awful. I see. I'm looking at a New York Post article for it. That's a terrible situation to put anybody in. That's wrong. Even if you have questions about what it is that he's saying on the field, maybe just don't post it. Like, you don't have to post the mic'd up segment. That's a good submission by James. David is up next. All right, very good. Steve is up next.
Well, I was going to go with the DK Metcalf swinging on a fan leading to a 2-game suspension, and I'm going to double down on that because I still think it's a bad look for the league. It's a bad look for the Steelers, who are desperately trying to hold on to their division lead, getting into the playoffs on a very aging Aaron Rodgers. And it's a bad look for the continuation of fans wanting to go and interact with players. Like, if it's going to affect the potential safety of interactions, it's a bad look across the board.
Okay. So the optics of the DK Metcalf situation. Listen, if a fan said what DK apparently thought he said, I have no problem with DK Metcalf punching that dude in the face. I got no issue with it.
You know,
I think that I've been steadfast on this. I understand it is. It's not my job to incite violence, even though I enjoy it. But I have long thought that fans who would never be comfortable saying things publicly to athletes, should they just come across them in a bar or restaurant, yelling things at them or dumping popcorn on them or whatever the case may be, I think that the athlete should have the right to swing on you in those situations. I understand the league disagrees. But, again, DK Metcalf sounds like he had a bit of a misunderstanding there. So, not great. Maybe just leave him alone. I mean, I don't know. I know that's an unreasonable ask, like, for fans to, just go about the business of being fans. Like, I feel like you can talk trash without, I don't know. Maybe it's too fine a line.
I mean, like, a lot of fans, especially after a few glasses of liquid confidence.
Oh, yes, that shouldn't be the excuse.
I mean,
you don't get the right to harass the athletes just because you paid for a $12 beer.
But it's going to happen.
No, I know.
Like, policing it.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no, like, that's just, it's just going to happen.
Right? There is a point to it.
There's a line.
Yeah. Also, don't lean over the railing to the point where he can grab you. Like,
he's so much bigger than you.
If you got a hell of a vertical, turns out he can reach you. Don't get within the athlete's reach.
Did you see his pre-draft photos, sir?
Yeah, I was at that combine.
No, I mean, like, this guy.
Yeah. Where people were concerned about him because he couldn't run a shuttle cone drill or whatever the hell that was. 3-cone drill. Preston is next.
Hey, I was originally going to go with the DK. Obviously, everybody said that, and the Chargers one's a great one as well, but I'm going to pivot to the NBA. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, so obviously last season we had the blockbuster trade, Cat, Julius Randle, all that. Well, we played last night. We had a couple guys out, mainly Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. Well, they start to, run off at the fourth quarter, and Julius Randle is chirping and, talking all this smack after we've already beat him 4 or 5 times. Love the guy. Now I don't. And he stares down our bench like he's going to see the ghost of Tom Thibodeau standing over there or something. Like, what are you doing, Julius? I loved you. Like, Jalen Brunson's out. He's had your number. We'll see you again. Let's see what you do then.
Thank you for the call. Jason is next. That'll be our last submission.
Yes, sir.
What you got?
Man, it's the DK with the fan, man. Is he too young? Have seen the Pacers back in the day? Remember that?
Sure.
It's that, man. I got that.
Okay,
the
very
DK
good.
with the fan.
Are people undeterred by the idea that everybody, including Jackson, used DK Metcalf?
I'm going with James.
I'm also going with James. That is horrendous. That was by far and away the best submission. Congratulations to James.
I do have the audio now.
Titans. I don't need it now.
Yeah, we got it, though. It's here. 2 points for trying.
Congratulations to James. He'll be in attendance, if he so chooses, for the Titans and the Saints at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Greg Cosell coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Speaking of the best, Greg Cosell is the best. You can check out the install normally on Thursdays, but because I don't know that Greg is taking Christmas Day off, I was just going to assume that he didn't want to spend a portion of it with me, so instead we've recruited him to join us on the radio show today. Greg Cosell joins us now of NFL Films. At Greg Cosell is where you can follow along. Merry Christmas, buddy. Thanks for taking some time this morning.
Buck, I appreciate it. And you know what? I actually love Christmas Day because tomorrow I will be here probably by 8 in the morning and there won't be anyone around and I can watch tape all day without any distractions or interruptions. It's beautiful.
I love that. I love that for you so much because I know that's when you're in your flow state, right? That's your moment of zen, yeah?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I'm actually very much looking forward to it, and the good thing is I don't have to get up quite as early as, let's say, on a normal day. So, I can actually get that extra hour or so of sleep, still be in it, early and just watch tape all day. And, because I got to really now study these playoff teams, I can't miss watching the tape of the teams that are, in the playoffs.
Of course, because the NFL Matchup Show continues on throughout the course of the regular season into the postseason. You can catch it on ESPN. You can set your DVR. You can watch it on demand on ESPN Plus with Greg and Sal Pal and Darius Butler, the rest of the crew, getting you informed ahead of the postseason. Now, we're not talking postseason football around here, Greg, but we are talking about better performances of late. And specifically from Cam Ward. This 2nd and 8 play from the Chiefs, 42, I believe, at the start of the third quarter, that drive that they come out in the second half with, they end up scoring a touchdown on. Greg, for him to get flushed to his left like that, throw across his body 30 yards in the air to DK, it might be my favorite throw of his all year.
Oh, I mean, and obviously it's the kind of play which he can make, and in this league, there's a big belief that your quarterback nowadays, kind of needs to be able to do those things. Not everyone; it depends on a skill. So obviously, Phillip Rivers won't be doing that, But no, that was just as big a second reaction movement throw as you'll see. And he ran out of the pocket to his left. He did not have a chance to set his feet at all. So he threw it, drifting away, falling away. And he threw a strike with precise ball placement on the sideline 40 yards down the field. I mean, that was as good as it gets. The point I would make, and then we can keep talking about it, and maybe there's other plays you have in mind, or we can just talk a little more generally. But, some of the other plays that I think are probably to a coaching staff, and because I've been taught by coaches about the position, that stand out more are the ones that are, seemingly routine, because those are the plays you have to make. And I'm talking about when he hits Manor for 25 yards on 3rd and 4 on the first third quarter possession, which was actually the same drive as the DK, or when he hits Manor for 24 yards on 3rd and 10, which I think was early in the third quarter as well. Or maybe it was fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But, the routine kinds of plays where you read it correctly, you know exactly where to go with the football, and you just make the right throw. I mean, those are the plays where we were hoping and waiting to see all season with consistency. I mean, keep in mind, they were 9 for 17 on third down. Yeah. First time all year, they were 50%. I mean, and then he was great on third down in this game.
And you have a Chiefs offense that's inoperable on the other side, right, Greg? I mean, it's
right.
It's their
defense is still, but it's still Spags and it's still a defense.
Yes, and they were giving Cam Ward as good an effort as you've seen from them on a regular basis. Their defense hasn't been quite up to snuff of the last couple of years, the Chiefs, but it's still an excellent unit with a very, very savvy and veteran defensive coordinator on the other side trying to put that rookie quarterback in a blender. It's been we talk about progression not necessarily being linear at any position, much less the quarterback, Greg, but it does feel like in these last 3 weeks with the Browns, not a great performance by him, but a good team performance en route to a win. They go to San Francisco. They're pretty good offensively. The defense can't get a stop against Shanahan. And then they come into this game as an offense. They convert with regularity on third down. He has the fastest time to throw of any quarterback last week, Cam Ward, so he's getting the ball out quickly and efficiently. To your point, the kind of routine things, the boxes that we've been waiting to check all season long in a complete performance en route to a win. It's the first time he's done that all season.
Keep in mind a couple of things, that I think are worth talking about. in the last 7 games, he's thrown 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Think about who they played in that 7-game stretch, Buck. I know you know this. I just for the audience. They've played the Chargers, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Browns, the 49ers, and the Chiefs. I mean, as the old expression is, that's not chopped liver. You know, those are some really good defenses in the National Football League, and you can see the incremental improvement. Now, again, you and I, we both understand how this works. We're not suggesting that all of a sudden Cam Ward is great and he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. But as someone goes through their rookie season playing with 2 rookie wideouts, a rookie tight end, an O-line that, you know, being honest, has just not lived up to its pedigree for most of the season. If you can see incremental improvement each and every week, you take it. You're excited about it. Now, does that mean he's going to play great this week? No, of course not. We don't know what he's going to do this week. But I think they've done some things that have helped, okay? Obviously, the last 3 games, they've run the ball really well, and people might not be aware that Pollard has the most rushing yards of any back in the league over the last 3 weeks. But the other thing that stood out, you know, is they have started to deploy more pre-snap movement as the season has progressed. It hasn't been every week, but there's been a clear trend. They've played more with 6 O-line personnel, and they've been very successful doing that. They were a very high 11 personnel offense through the first 9 weeks of the season. In fact, they led the NFL. They still lead the NFL, but they've dropped that percentage significantly. So they've made some tactical and conceptual changes as well. And all that is, you know, it helps. It helps the quarterback. And by the way, you made a great point about time getting rid of the ball. That just makes your O-line look better. And you know, that's the bottom line. You know, look, I love listening to Tom Brady talk about all this when he does games, and he always talks about the quarterback's role in getting rid of the football and helping the O-line, and he puts that 99% on the quarterback, not the offensive line, and he certainly knows more than I do about quarterback play. So, and I happen from my tape study for years and years to agree with him.
I love what you're pointing out there about the ways that they've adjusted to help Cam, because, you know, Greg, in a season where they're 3-12 and making progress, right? They've won 2 of their last 3, and, you know, maybe it took until week 14 for them to start to show those signs of life, but whatever, they're doing it. I think it's important for the audience to hear that, to hear you articulate that, because there's not going to be an overwhelming amount of praise for a coaching staff that's had the kind of year that this coaching staff has had. But it's undeniable that they're making some key adjustments to further the growth of the rookie quarterback, whether this staff ends up being here in some form or fashion next year or not.
Right. And again, like I said, we don't know what next week holds or the final week of the season holds. But you know, I think that and this is not an X and O point, but I'm sure people watching the game, whether they were watching on TV or in the stadium, you could just see that Ward looked a little bit different. He looked comfortable this week. He looked poised. You know, not that he's never looked like a professional quarterback in other games, but in this game, you felt like you were watching an NFL quarterback going about his business.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, that may not be an X and O point, although a lot of X's and O's go into that. But you just felt like, hey, this guy looks like a professional quarterback. He's dropping back. He's hitting his back foot. He knows where to go with the football. The ball's coming out. It's going to the right receiver at the right time. And he still can make those special plays, because that's, you know, he even had another one where he hit Okonkwo on, I think, a 15-yarder on a crossing route where he moved out of the pocket, kept his eyes downfield, stayed ready in position to throw. See, those are the little things. Keeping your eyes downfield, staying ready to throw, not totally breaking down where you have no chance then to make a throw.
Speaking of trying to determine whether a quarterback is cut out to be some kind of just a factor at the professional level, Tyler Shuck in New Orleans, Greg, is really interesting. Again, these are not playoff teams, so I don't know how much tape you're breaking down on Tyler Shuck outside of sheer curiosity in this Kellen Moore offense in year one. But what are you seeing from him that's allowing him to have some level of success? Because they've beat 2 divisional opponents and the Jets in the last couple of weeks. The Panthers are no slouch at this point, sitting at the top of the NFC South. New Orleans looks fairly competitive at 5-10.
And actually, their defense has played pretty well in addition. And Brandon Staley's their coordinator, and he's a very smart guy. But, you know, it's funny. Tyler Shuck, and I was on record saying this because I believed it, you know, watching the tape. I thought that he had the best tape coming out of college after Cam Ward. So it's the two guys that I thought had the best tape in college that, in my evaluation coming out there. So I'm not surprised by Shough. He's big, he's physical, he's athletic, he knows how to play. He looks like an NFL quarterback the way he delivers the football. So again, I don't know what he's going to do this week against the Titans. I don't know, but I spoke to someone who firmly believes that in the mind of Kellen Moore, he's the quarterback next year, that they're not going to be looking for a quarterback. Now, again, that can all, you never know. That's I spoke to someone, quote unquote, in the know. Everybody thinks they're in the know, that. So who knows what's going to happen, but my guess is that, because don't forget, they drafted him with the 40th pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like he's a throwaway pick. And oh boy, look, he happens to be playing well. They drafted him with the idea that he was, number one, going to compete for the starting job. And now that he won it and is playing well, look, they had him drop back over 50 times last week, and it was efficient. It wasn't phenomenal. It was efficient. But, sometimes that's what you're looking for. Everybody gets excited about, the DK throws that you mentioned, and you love for your quarterback to be able to do that. But when all's said and done, that's not what's going to make Cam Ward a good or great quarterback, if that's to happen. But what's going to make him or Tyler Shough great is, when the play is called and you get the right coverage, is you hit your back foot and you deliver the ball to the right guy at the right time with the right kind of throw. That's what eventually makes quarterbacks good in this league. So, I think Shough can be that guy. I really do.
How is Kellen Moore setting him up for that success beyond, just what his talent brings to the table and his capabilities?
Yeah, and I haven't watched every game, as you said, because, again, I'm sort of in playoff mode as it gets to be that time of year.
Must be nice, bud.
Right. Obviously, I watch the Titans every week, but for other teams, fortunately, a lot of, other people I talk to, radio stuff, those teams are in the playoffs, so that always makes me very happy. Hopefully the Titans move into that category next year.
Don't playoff shame me, Greg. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don't play.
Right. So I haven't studied Shough in the same detail.
Sure.
I've watched him, but not studied him like that. So I can't really answer that question, and I don't want to say anything that's wrong. But I've seen enough to know that I just like the way he plays. I haven't studied their offense in the same way I've studied, the Titans offense and Cam Ward.
Well, God knows that's changed a couple of times throughout the course of the season, given the kind of play caller situation.
It makes me so curious, and you are, everybody in Nashville is, it makes me so curious to know who the head coach is going to be. It just, and whether it's an offensive head coach, whether it's a defensive coach, who does he bring in to coach the offense? Because obviously it's going to be different. He's probably going to have to learn different terminology. That stuff's not as easy as people think. You hope it's not another season where it truly starts from scratch, because again, look, I think Cam now is developing a better sense of what works, what doesn't work. I thought that, and I did see Nick Holt speak about it, and I thought it was very interesting talking the way he spoke about, guys come in with the idea, and this is true for all quarterbacks, not just Cam. Guys come in with an idea, I really like to do this. Well, sometimes what you really like to do in college is not going to work really well in the NFL.
Right.
And, that happens with quarterbacks. It's a different game. But I think he's probably developed an understanding of, this works, this doesn't work. I've got to make some adjustments. I've got to adjust my game. That stuff all takes time. But we live in a world where everybody wants to make, these bold pronouncements, week after week. And it doesn't work like that.
You can seek out the NFL Matchup Show this coming weekend. Greg is grinding through the holidays, as is always the case, to make sure that you can get your X's and O's conversation, your analysis ahead of a week of football with at least 3 huge matchups here, Greg, between a bunch of fun teams. What will be highlighted this week? What will you be highlighting this week on the Matchup Show?
Well, I'm doing in the show, the games I'm doing are Seahawks, Panthers, Jaguars, Colts, Eagles, Bills, and Texans, Chargers. Yeah. Texans, Chargers is a huge game.
I don't envy the Chargers offensive line in that one, Greg.
Yeah. Well, they, again, those games always fascinate me. You know why, Buck? Because they know that too. So, I mean, it's easy to say, gee, their O-line is going to get beaten. And by the way, they could. I mean, there's going to be times where I'm sure guys get beat. But the coaching staff also knows that. So they'll structure a plan that in their mind will at least control it. Now, can Will Anderson go off on any given play, or Danielle Hunter, or even the interior guys? Sure. But they know this too. So that's what always interests me, because the team knows their strengths and weaknesses. These coaches know the strengths and weaknesses of their players and their team. So they, does that mean they always, have a great game? Of course not, because there's another team out there. But they know what it is.
I just saw the Titans coaching staff do it against Myles Garrett. I thought Myles Garrett was going to break the sack record in that game alone, and they had a really nice plan in terms of at least trying to stave him off, if not outright mitigating him.
Yeah, and the Bills did the same thing. I mean, they didn't throw the ball very much, and they almost got upset by the Browns, obviously, but they didn't. And there's always games like that in the league. I mean, even the Texans with the Raiders this past week, it looked like they could lose that game. There's always games where good teams, and don't forget, they're all NFL teams where and fans don't see it that way. They see it as, oh my God, the Bills aren't that good, or oh my God, the Texans, what's wrong with them? But there's always games like that in the NFL. You know that. Not every week do you win if you're a good team by 25 points.
Greg, appreciate your time as always, buddy. Enjoy the time with the family and enjoy the peace and the solitude of NFL films on Christmas Day. I know you're looking forward to that.
I am very much looking forward to that.
Well, good,
absolutely.
buddy.
So you have a great holiday too, Buck. Thanks so much.
That's the main man, Greg Cosell. Our normal taping Thursday mornings. You can subscribe to the Install Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You also catch him on 3HL. I think he did his 3HL hit yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Cam Ward said some interesting things about his next coaching staff. Speaking of Greg's fascination with the future Titans coaching staff, could Mike McCoy actually be considered? We'll talk about it coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Speaking of fire. So, Cam Ward had some interesting comments yesterday. He is being asked questions at the podium about the next Titans coaching staff. He is not unprovoked or unprompted being or offering his opinions on the next Titans coaching staff. But he was asked yesterday, I think it was Kaharski that asked the question, about the progress that he's making, the progress that the offense is making, and his stated desire before the season started to have continuity really for the first time in his career. So the phrasing of the question, Jackson, the question's not in the response here?
Question not included.
Okay.
Like batteries at Christmas.
So the question was basically, do you think that it should be considered for some of the Titans' current coaching staff to get an opportunity to be a part of the next Titans coaching staff? This was Cam Ward's response.
I think it'd be a good idea, just because some of, not only myself, but the other guys on offense are already used to some of this, and it'll just be nothing but building on it for next year. But at the end of the day, we always have to be open to what the new guy's bringing in. And, he's coming here for a reason, and I'm going to get behind him and, learn the playbook that I have to learn, and be open to, him hearing me out on what I like too.
Okay. So he thinks it would be a good idea to have some kind of carryover, some kind of holdover from this year's Titans coaching staff. Jackson, you are a Titans fan. I ask you the question, and I ask the audience the question, 615-737-1045. Do you agree or do you disagree with Cam Ward?
I think there can be some continuity. I like what Luke Stalker has done in his elevated role since Brian Callahan's dismissal. That's about it on offense. On special teams, I'd love to see them keep Bones Fossil. I think if there's one coach you retain on this staff currently, it's Bones Fossil.
Sure. Let's keep it to offense, though.
Okay, keep it to offense. Luke Stalker, I like what Bo Hardegree's done. I just don't know what his role would be in a new guy's system.
Well, and it also assumes Bo Hardegree interviewed for play calling roles last offseason, and he ended up coming back to the Titans in a quarterback coach role. Now, it doesn't mean that Bo Hardegree would be an offensive coordinator next year, but if I'm Bo, I'm looking around being like, hey, guys, you see what I'm doing and what I'm doing it with?
You can see the development and they're getting better as the offensive scheme as the year progresses.
Now, it can be something as simple as what is being alleged by one person in the chat. Buston says, I mean, Cam isn't going to outright say, quoting Cam, or hypothetically quoting Cam, he's not going to outright say, nah, these guys suck, bring in some people who know what they're doing. I feel like he's giving his most political response all year there. I don't know that to be true or untrue. What I will say is I don't think he says things that he doesn't mean. Like, I don't think he's political.
Hasn't been his MO all year. Why would this answer be different?
He's never been the kind of person to say things just for the sake of getting through. Like, the whole we ask thing.
Yeah, keep it. If I'm keeping it a buck, we ask.
I don't think he does anything but keep it a buck. Like, I think that's just kind of who he is. If you ask him a question directly, he's going to respond to you directly. He said this at the start of the season. Now, he also said things like, I think we have the potential to be a top 10 offense. And
he said that again.
Yeah. And things like the, top 5 wide receiver core.
He said that yesterday.
Yeah, I know. So, like, he does say some things that maybe it's easy to point and laugh at and be like, well, that's ridiculous. But I think he, one, is just direct in his responses. He's not thinking about it and then giving you he's not a coach speak guy, really. I am of the opinion that he does desire some level of continuity. I do think they're doing a good job with him. I think it's been really hard, but I think on aggregate, they're doing a good job with him. Now, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for Mike McCoy to be the next head coach and Bo Hardegree to be the offensive coordinator and all these things.
But it's a possibility I think fans need to keep in the back of their minds.
I don't think it's likely.
But it's.
But I think there's a percentage chance. She's done this before. Mike Mularkey was an interim that they made head coach, and I don't remember there being a lot of celebration with Mike Mularkey.
And he didn't win many. I think if McCoy wins one of these next two games, I think he won more games in his interim year than Mularkey did.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because that team went 3-13.
They
Wiz
won that Saints game after Wiz got fired, and then they didn't win much more after that.
So they won 3 games that year. They beat week 1 because, remember, Ken Wisenhunt always had you prepared for week 1, never again the rest of the season. And then they beat the Saints, and then they beat the Jags at home when Mariota had that 87-yard run.
I would not actively advocate for Mike McCoy to be the next head coach. I do think that he's done a good enough job to think that that's not just Cam being diplomatic. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in, you are welcome to do so. Joe is in Nashville.
Guys, I got 2 words. Fool's gold. Please, that's what the Titans have been, the downfall for the Titans the last few years. We've been holding on to people from previous regimes, and it's called us. That's where we are right now. I think, I see Cam, he has improved. The team, the offense has looked better. But again, teams are not really game planning for the Titans at this point in the stage. Nobody's really, putting up a scheme to stop Cam Ward.
Well, that's just objectively not true, Joe. Like, I agree with some of what you're saying, but, like, these coaches get paid. They want to continue to keep their jobs. They're not just mailing it in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not saying they're just taking the day out, but nobody's really putting in a great game plan for the Titans. So, of course, the offense is going to look better. And I just think that, with the Titans in the past, that we just need to go ahead and clear house. I do agree with Bone Fossil, but we need to clear house, bring a new coach in, bring his staff, and if that coach decides to keep somebody, great. But let's not fall into the whole same old thing of trying to hold people up because we're seeing success in these last couple of weeks, and that's a reason to keep these guys on.
Yeah, Joe, I don't think they'll do that, and I appreciate the call. And we disagree on how people are prepared for the Titans. People are preparing for whoever the opponent is, no matter what the week of the season is. Now, whether the players give full effort or execute, I don't know. These coaches are freaks this way. Like, there is not a moment in the NFL that doesn't matter, even if to you it doesn't. So we'll disagree there. But I am also of the belief that they need to bring in somebody who is going to put this quarterback in the best possible position to succeed and give them the option. They can make suggestions, and they can suggest Bones Fossil, and they can suggest Bo Hardigree, or they can say, no, we're good, you do what you want to do, or whatever the case may be. I don't think Chad Breaker is interested, and Mike Berganzi is interested in keeping Mike McCoy. I'm just saying it's their coaching search. It's not really their decision, as we have found out, because if they had their way, they probably would have let Callahan play out the stretch. And Amy swooped in week 6 and said, nah. And that's fine. That, by the way, she was right. She made the right decision. I haven't said many complimentary things or praised the job that Amy has done here, but she was right. Patience over panic did not serve them in that moment. And they are a better football team for not having Brian Callahan as their head coach. So for all of the Amy criticisms that I've had and that other people have had, she was right. But now she has to get it right again. The final hour is coming up next. Nate Washington will join us. We'll talk about the progress of the young quarterback. Is it, in fact, fool's gold, what we're seeing from the Titans offense, as the caller just alleged? Or is there something fundamentally that can be built upon there? I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
12:01, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone, Circa Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The league has upheld its 2-game suspension for Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf after his altercation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit against the Lions. The fan's actions and interaction with the Pro Bowl wide receiver are still under review, and the league will be in touch with the Lions regarding the fan code of conduct. NFL is in action throughout the holiday, as tomorrow you can catch the Cowboys and Commanders as they go head-to-head in D.C. Kickoff for that one is at noon on Netflix. Also on Netflix, the 3:30 game is the Lions head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And wrapping up the Christmas Day slate, the Broncos head to Kansas City to take on the shorthanded Chiefs. That kickoff at 7 on Amazon Prime. If that doesn't excite you, better football on the horizon is Saturday. The Texans head to L.A. to take on the Chargers in SoFi Stadium. That game on NFL Network at 3:30. And the Ravens head to Green Bay to take on the Packers at 7 on Peacock. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your own for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The NFL has made a play to take over our Christmas Day viewing experience. What has forever been the NBA's day has been infringed upon. And this year is really going to be a test to see whether or not the NFL can actually wrestle away the viewership from the National Basketball Association. Welcome back to the final hour of the show. Nate Washington will join us. We'll get back into Cam Ward talk and Titans coaching talk with him in just about 20 minutes from now. Your phone calls are also welcome. 615-737-1045 is how you participate throughout the remainder of the show. A reminder that this is our last radio show of the week. It is not my last radio show of the week. I will be doing Fox Sports Radio. I'm filling in for Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington on... what is that, Friday morning?
What a downgrade.
Rude.
I finally got you.
I said much meaner things to you during the commercial break that I can't say on air. So
That's very fair.
You've got me for now until we go to break. Then you're banged.
Oh, I got 12 minutes to live.
Uh-huh.
Call in 615-737-1045.
I wonder what the meanest thing I've ever said to somebody is. Things I think about on Christmas. Anyway, I looked at this NFL slate. So there's 2 Netflix games for the second season in a row on Christmas Day, and now Amazon Prime has a Christmas game. None of these games are good.
They're all terrible.
They are all terrible. It's the worst case scenario that Netflix and Prime could possibly have, having paid, I believe, it was ballpark $100 million plus for the 2 Netflix games.
The best game.
And that's just for the rights. That's not the talent. That's not the broadcast. That's not the equipment, the camera crew, top to bottom, everything that you need to be able to put on an NFL broadcast. That's just for the right to broadcast the games. I'll get you an exact figure here in a second. What do you got, Jackson?
The best game is Cowboys Commanders at noon.
Well, yes.
Dak Prescott versus Marcus Mariota.
We think Marcus didn't practice yesterday.
Oh, so they might all be bad.
Yes.
Because that one, I'm like, ooh, that's one I can watch.
It could be Josh Johnson or Sam Hartman, I suppose. 39-year-old Josh Johnson still wandering around out there as the Commanders' third-string quarterback. Sam Hartman, the former Wake Forest and Notre Dame quarterback, who has been, I think, on their practice squad for a couple of seasons at this point. Netflix's cost for the NFL, let's see. Is it going to give me a ballpark number? Oh, I'm sorry. $150 million for those 2 games.
Woo. 75 a pop?
Woo!
That means they're paying about $38 million for Max Brosmer.
That's just a tragedy. But it's a part of Netflix's play to get one in the NFL game, as they've successfully done now, because the 2 games are the 6-8-1 Cowboys at the 4-11 Commanders, or the 8-7 Lions, who aren't dead, but are teetering, versus it's Max Brosmer, because J.J. McCarthy has like a hairline fracture in his hand.
He broke his hand.
Great. The 7-8 Vikings.
Amazon Prime's not doing much better, bud.
Well, they have the Broncos at the playoff-eliminated Kansas City Chiefs, who are down to their third-string quarterback. And I have not seen who the Chiefs have brought in at quarterback this week, given that Chris Oludokun was not overwhelmingly great. And
He wasn't terrible. It could have been worse. I have seen worse quarterback play from a Titans quarterback in the last 3 seasons than I saw from him on Sunday.
Oh, hell, I think I've seen it this year. No, I don't think Cam's been
No,
bad.
Cam has not been that bad.
It's just me being petulant.
The line in that game, 13.5.
Which one?
Hammer the Broncos.
You think they're going to beat them by more than 2 scores?
The Titans did.
Yeah, that's fair. I am curious to see what that looks like at Arrowhead just generally. But here's the thing, okay? The NBA slate is not that much better for Christmas Day. But this is the day that they have perpetually owned. So the Christmas Day NBA slate, as we see it right now, is the Cavs and the Knicks, the Mavs and the Warriors. You've got the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Spurs, Thunder. Now, Spurs, Thunder is the game.
That's going to be a tomorrow. Why is that the 1:30 game?
I don't know. That's weird. I mean, I don't know. Are most people sitting around at their house at 1:30?
I guess it's different.
Remind me how people do Christmas. I haven't done it in a long time.
So you wake up pretty early. I'm probably get up about 9. Have a nice
early.
But like some people get up earlier. You know, people who have children and things like that. They got to get up at like 5 or 6, and then you do Christmas stuff. You just kind of lounge around, wait for Christmas Stories playing all day. You ever seen the movie?
Yes, I have seen the Christmas Story.
That plays all day. So you watch that probably while you're eating breakfast. And then there's some sort of sporting event on. Normally, I will say I will start with football, and I will let it attempt to wow me. And then at 1:30, I will probably go watch Spurs Thunder.
Cavs Knicks might have been a good game at the start of the season. Cavs are 17-14. They're not that impressive this season.
And the Knicks are hurt.
The Knicks are hurt, but they're 20-9, so at least it's a better team. To be honest, since the Pacers have been so awful and the Grizzlies have been so awful, I think the Grizzlies won last night. I have really not paid much attention to the NBA so far this season. I'll drop in, on a random night when I have a couple of extra hours when there's not something that I need to be doing, or we have a primetime show, or there's not football on, or whatever. But here's my thing. Because DP on YouTube, and this is an opinion that you're welcome to have, I'm curious to know how many people will approach it this way. He says, no thanks to any NBA games. Boring. Sir.
Spurs Thunder will not be boring.
There is nothing boring about Victor Wembanyama. Now, I'm not here to sell you on the NBA if you just don't want to watch the NBA, but I think this is an interesting experience because football, if these were good games, would obviously get the bigger audience. Is there a world in which these 3 terrible football games will still outdraw the best of the NBA games?
Yes, I think it's a good bet.
You think that people are just going to, out of habit, switch to football or watch football and stick with bad football rather than watch meaningful NBA games at, we're a month and a half into the NBA season, I guess, thereabouts. You think that people would rather watch terrible, terrible football where, what is it? I guess they're not eliminated yet, but there's one team that's in the playoffs definitively out of the 6 teams that are going to be playing on Christmas Day. In this part of the country, I think it's an easy answer to say, yeah, people are just going to watch football.
Yeah.
This was my opinion because we talked about this last night on Fox. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I think I would also, and I love basketball, I would probably spend most of the time watching the football games, but there's no way that I wouldn't watch Spurs Thunder. And I know the Thunder are sliding here a little bit lately. They're still awesome.
Yeah.
Fred Knox on YouTube, and I expected that there would be a handful of these things. Fred Knox says I would watch the Hawaii Bowl before the NBA. Listen, if you're just not into basketball, that's cool. I just wonder how the NBA holds up this specific Christmas Day, because the NFL is now spending the second Christmas in a row pushing them, trying to push them out the door or trying to shove them further down the pecking order when they've always been able to have this. Can they, with a decent lineup, it's not a great, outstanding lineup of games on Christmas Day, but it's better than what the NFL is offering. Is the NFL just always going to win by default? I'm genuinely curious to find that out.
How does the streaming aspect of all this affect? You know, if you're going to grandma's house on Christmas Day, it's going to be a lot easier to turn on ABC.
Yeah, but will, Johnny still have the NFL game on his iPad or his phone while you're watching it on network television? So I think the NFL will report numbers. Netflix doesn't usually, right? Like Netflix, unless they have just an unbelievable number, they're not like required to report ratings that way. But the NFL will want numbers out there if the number is bigger than what the NBA did.
Yeah, they just said record viewership last year.
So I'm curious to see how that comes about, and whether or not there would be some consideration to splitting it up, the NFL, just to not run this risk again. I mean, I don't know. If you picked these 3 games at the start of the season, when the schedule comes out,
these would have been awesome.
You would have said this is a rock star lineup. Cowboys against the Commanders. The Commanders were just in the NFC Championship game. The Broncos and the Chiefs. You would assume that game would have been tighter. Who would have thought that? I mean, the Miami Dolphins season technically lasted longer from a playoff elimination standpoint than the Chiefs did. Now, they got eliminated the next day after the Chiefs did, but still, like, that's the kind of year that it's been for the Chiefs. And then the Vikings and the Lions, I don't know. I mean, they're still
two of the top teams in the NFC last year.
Alive, yes, they're still alive, both teams. But this has to be the worst case scenario for the Vikings when you consider making that quarterback change or allowing Sam Darnold to move on and moving forward with J.J. McCarthy. Like, I guess it could have gone much worse by record, but they have really, really struggled to recreate any level of magic around the rookie quarterback, whose availability now on a couple of different fronts, a couple of different injuries, he's just missing a lot of time, and that's not sustainable when Max Brosmer is your backup quarterback. 615-737-1045 is how you chime in. We'll get back to your phone calls later. Nate Washington will join us next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Nate Washington has been kind enough to adjust his schedule. We are obviously off on the local show tomorrow and on Friday. So Nate is kind enough to join us now. It is not too late. It is Christmas Eve, but if you haven't done your holiday shopping or you're still looking for a couple extra stocking stuffers, Football Was My Father, Nate Washington's book is available in the Amazon bookstore. You can still get your copy today if you are looking for something enlightening in your life, inspirational even. Always good to have Nate on the show. Buddy, I appreciate your time. Happy holidays to you and to the family. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm sure you have big plans and are looking forward to spending some quality time together. Unfortunately for you, though, you're stuck with just me here today. I'm the last one standing. Robert's gone. Lucas is gone. It's just you and me, bud. Oh, Nate might be muted.
I was muted. Thank you, my guy.
It made me feel even lonelier, Nate. I was like,
that's how things go. You know, Robert normally checks on me first before I tap in and everything's good. So you definitely missing the team, but hey, we're in it together, baby. Happy holiday.
Absolutely. Jackson doing a terrible job back there, not setting Nate Washington up for success while he sits there and eats whatever Christmas candy he's got back there. What are you eating? We're trying to do a professional radio show. What are you back there shoving in your face?
I thought that was the brand that y'all were going for.
No, get out of here. You're done for the day. All right, Nate Washington is here with us. Nate, they won a football game and Cam Ward looked good. What were your thoughts on the way that the Titans offense performed?
Oh, definitely was a good game for them collectively. The run game was able to make some splash plays. Cam was able to make some splash plays in the pass game. Shamir and Alec both were able to put some success on the board, and we even see some sightings of Chig, so there were some good things. But in all honesty, I was excited for these guys. They were definitely what I expected. If I'm honest, they were facing a similar caliber of guys. The situation of young guys, plug and play guys that were subbing in for a lot of starters that were missing, and opportunity to go out and be successful for us as the Titans. And they did exactly what they needed to do. So I was happy that those things came to fruition because, at the end of the day, as a coaching staff, as an organization, I've been preaching about this for the entire year, but you want to see progression from your guys. And Sunday, it just looked like they gelled together and all phases came together for this offense.
They had not won, Nate, at Nissan Stadium in over 400 days until this past Sunday. Over a calendar year had it been since the local fans, the home fans, and listen, they're few and far between at this point. We understand why, right? I'm not here to attendance shame people. I get it, okay? I'm paid to be there. It's a different situation. But for the fans who are still holding on to any sliver of hope to finally see him do a thing that he hasn't done all year long, right? Because they've won games before, Nate, but they haven't. The Arizona, I don't, it's a win, whatever. He did things in the fourth quarter that put them in position to win. That's fine. Cleveland, he wasn't great. He was good enough, but it was more about the defense and the special teams creating turnovers and the offense, the run game, having a great plan for Myles Garrett. And Cam was more an ancillary piece in that win. Right. This was the first time all year that I can definitively say I've seen Cam Ward be the driving force in a Titans winning performance. And I think that was so necessary for everybody to see. Maybe the organization doesn't need it the way that fans need it or media needs it, but that affirmation to know that, okay, he is in fact capable of this. It's just taken him basically 16 weeks to get there.
Correct. I think these are just synopsis of a few of the statements that he's made over the season. I recall him saying earlier in the season, once I figure it out and start feeling a little better, I know things will start, going as I expect them to go. And, even a couple of weeks ago with the win that they did get, I think it was in Cleveland, and him coming back after that game, post-game, and stating, as much as we're excited about winning this game, we want to be better. And I think this is exactly what he was alluding to, him being able to go out and perform and give this team the opportunity every every week in and week out, that he can give them. And that's exactly what we seen on Sunday. You know, I seen a playmaker be able to go out there and change things for this team. And I think Cam Newton has also been speaking about this in specific to this position in itself, the quarterback position. You get some guys that can come in there and they just, do what they're supposed to do, but then you get playmakers that come in there and that can change everything. And that's exactly what you were hoping that you were getting in the number 1 draft pick in Cam. Or so to see him put those things together, as I stated, against a team that was kind of suffering in their injury department and a lot of plug and play young guys, you wanted to see him go out there and have this type of success, and it definitely worked out for him on Sunday.
Yeah, just beat up on a bad team one time. Like, there's not too many teams that are worse than you so far this year. Like, show that you can do it, and that's why that performance felt so, I think, reassuring to a lot of people. And to your point about, like, what they need to continue to surround him with, I mean, he got a pretty solid performance across the board, right? Ellick, 3 catches for 58 yards. Tajay, 5 catches for 53 yards. Chig, 6 catches for 44 and a touchdown on that little shovel pass. Chimere Dike, 3 catches for 40 yards, a touchdown, and a ridiculous grab on the sideline on an even more ridiculous throw, Nate. That play on 2nd and 8 from the Chiefs 42 in the second half, where we talked about it with Greg Cosell earlier, where he gets flushed, he rolls to his left, he throws across his body, and it's not like a catch and run 30 yards. It's 30 yards in the air to get that to Chimere Dike, who just is able to secure the catch as he falls out of bounds. I don't know that I've seen him make a better throw this season than that one, especially because they were able to capitalize. It was the first drive out of the second half, and they've struggled in those situations, right? They've struggled on opening possessions. They've struggled to put their foot on anybody, and that was one of the few moments this season where I can definitively say, yeah, they stepped on the gas, and for once they were finally able to execute across the board. Such a huge advantage, because in that situation, they go up on 10, and they go up by 10, and the Chiefs' third-string quarterback, he's not going to be able to match you in that spot.
Yeah, correct. You definitely put them in the other team in a bad position, but this is actually what I've been asking and begging for the whole entire year since the beginning of preseason. I knew the offense that these guys were going to be in, even with a healthy Calvin Ridley. You were getting a rookie quarterback, and you want the run game to be the first and foremost thing that this offense builds their foundation off of. And now we're seeing success in Tony Pollard and both Tajay being able to, make some splash plays in that run game. And all it does is open up opportunities for Cam to go be complementary to that run game and give those guys an opportunity, a shot every now and again to make like he made with Shamir on the sideline. But you don't want to be in a position, as we started off this year, of relying on those things day in, down in, down out, quarter to quarter. You don't want to rely on those type of big plays from such a young guy. So for him to be in a position to play complementary football and go out there and be the other side of the sword on the other side of the run game was great for Sunday, and also builds the confidence for this young receivers core. For them to go out there and make the plays that they made and be accountable, in their situations, is going to be great for their confidence moving forward.
Chimere Dike, as a returner, makes it to the Pro Bowl. He's the first rookie in 15 years for this franchise to make a Pro Bowl. The last one was a returner, too, Mariani, in 2010. And, I mean, he becomes one of 6 rookies in the franchise's history to make the Pro Bowl. Earl Campbell, Javon Curse, Vince Young, Chris Johnson, and Mariani. Not a bad list to be a part of. As far as what he brings, not just in the team's game, Nate, but what you've seen from him on offense throughout the course of the year, how viable do you feel like he is as a 2 or a 3, whatever the case may be? How viable do you feel like DK is moving forward as they continue to build this thing up around Cam?
Respectfully, I consider guys like these great utility tools. It doesn't matter where you plug and play them. They're capable of doing anything, and his explosive play ability is something that this team definitely needed, in the special teams area and on the offense. You give a guy like that, shifty, speedy guy like that, the ability to get the ball in his hands, and you just sit back and you watch your other guys do their job and watch him make magic. A lot of times that's exactly what you need. Those type of explosive plays ways and possibilities for guys to go out and make something out of nothing. I remember playing with Mark Mariani in his rookie year, and such a good friend of mine, but watching his success that he had on special teams at times were a bit eye-opening because, you know, us as being a freshly new offense and trying to gain our foundation and understand what they were trying to do with us at that time, you know, a lot of times it can be an uphill battle, you know, but to have a guy go out there on special teams and put some points on the board definitely helped us get the ball rolling a lot. So as you stated, it's not just for him on special teams. It's going to be something that I think he'll continue to build on the offensive side of the ball. Him being a utility tool. Doesn't matter whether he's in the slot, outside, running reverse, run a screen, whatever you're going to do, you're going to get the kid the ball, and he's going to make something happen.
Nate Washington, Titans legend, here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Also published author, Football Was My Father, available in the Amazon bookstore. And just because it's Christmas Eve, maybe you order your copy today, maybe you order a copy, maybe you're looking for a little inspiration heading into the new year. Always a good time to pick up the book, as some people in our YouTube chat have mentioned. One of the commenters saying that his copy of Football Was My Father just arrived, so he's starting to read it tonight.
Thank you.
Again, in the Amazon bookstore. Jackson, in fact, if you could do me the courtesy of dropping the link to Nate's book in the FNM Bank chat for more people who would like to check it out for themselves. So, speaking of the Pro Bowl, Jeffrey Simmons makes his fourth. He has been... Nate, I spend a lot of time in front of a microphone talking about people who do things that do things that I cannot do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got you.
As somebody who covers professional athletes, I am well aware that I would not last a second in their world. But with Jeffrey, I have in the last couple of years been pretty critical of the availability, of the lack of, I wouldn't say impact, but just kind of once you start to make a certain kind of money, your performance starts to be a talking point relative to your paycheck. Whether that's fair or not, it's always a part of the dialogue. Coming into this season, I was, again, talking about Jeff as you really need him to achieve the kind of potential that we all know is there. It just hasn't happened. We haven't seen it in a couple of years. And I want to be, cognizant of the fact that injuries can inhibit that. And there's all manner of different things that are going on in guys' personal lives that we aren't privy to. But just in terms of the on-field performance, Nate, he's been everything that anybody could have possibly asked of him this year. And not just in terms of the on-field product. Like, I've never been more impressed by Jeff Simmons than I have been in this terrible season, because I think that whether or not he had to go through such tough times professionally, much less getting his house broken into and all the other stuff that he's had to deal with so far this year to become, this version of himself, the best version of himself, I don't think I could say enough good things about the job that he has done in a season for them that hasn't mattered, but he's clearly taken it upon himself to meet some of the challenges, whether it be from the fans, whether it be from the media, whether it be from his teammates or his coaches. What have you made of the season that Jeff Simmons has had?
Oh, man, it's been outstanding. As you stated, I feel like it's both been on the field and off the field. I've known him to be in community relations and heavily involved in his own community back home and those type of things. But I think, it's just increased this year. I've been able to see him continuing to show impact off the field and accepting the responsibility and the role of not only being the leader on this team, but a face of this franchise and wanting to be involved in the community. I think, speaking from a personal standpoint, and this is something I actually touch on in my book, when I first got to Tennessee and myself, I went through heavy media criticism as well. Everything from not being in the weight room to them criticizing how much time I was spending in the building. And, those things bother you, as a player, as a person, because you know how much it means to you. But as a guy, it sounds like he's very similar to me. It's more of a I'm going to show you type of thing. And that's exactly what he's done this year. Whether it's been your criticism or anybody else's criticism, he's shown that he's understood and heard the things that have been said. And he wanted to come out and prove everything wrong. He wanted to come out and prove that he was the guy that people thought he could be, and still even more room for improvement. I can't wait for Tavondre to continue to grow and become that asset on the side of him that, you know, he can be beneficial off of. So when those type of things come together, and as you stated, when the injuries subside and they're healthy and they're rolling, I think they'll be able to continue to grow and the platform will continue to grow for Jeff. But this year has definitely been big for him. I think he's obviously solidified himself as the foundation of this defense for years to come when it comes towards this franchise. And I think, you know, his attitude has shown that it doesn't matter what's being said. You know, the game is going to be played and he's going to show up to play it every single down. And as not only a fan, but as an alumni, I've been proud to say, hey, maybe this is one of the guys that I would have loved to been able to have the opportunity to play with.
Absolutely. And I think it's been a work in progress for him. And to your point, I mean, you talked about this with us last week, Nate, the years, plural, that it took you to feel, as you said, as comfortable and confident and know exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it, whether it be from your on-field performance, whether it be in preparation, recovery, whatever the case may be, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it. Like it can be a slow burn at times, and everybody's development curve is different. Some guys don't achieve it, whether it be by their own inability to maximize their potential or whether it's a situation that they get dropped into. There's so many different factors here, and I'm just glad to see. I'm glad to see that he is one of the guys that is up to the challenge. You know, because there would have been reasons not to question him individually, but just the circumstance that he's in, Nate. Like much weaker people, myself included, would have said, "Get me the hell out of here." If I'm being completely honest, like I'm not. I'm a front runner, Nate. I'm not cut out for the for the bad times like that. For Jeff, I hope for his sake at some point, whether it be next year or the following or whatever the case may be, that he gets to realize the turnaround that he's been trying to manifest. Because he just, to your point about being proud as an alumni of this place, he genuinely wants to be here. And I don't know how many people, how many athletes in an honest moment of losing organizations, that if you really press them on it would say, yes, at my core, I want to be here through the bad because I want to be one of the reasons why it turns around.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for him specifically because although he's my good friend, I can only imagine this has to be very similar to what Jarrell Casey went through. You know, he built, you know, a lot of that attitude and that fortitude on that defense, and he was one of the foundational pieces for everything to come after him, and to not have the opportunity to retire in a Titans jersey. I couldn't imagine how it affected him. So hopefully Jeff is here for the tender of his career. And this guy goes out on the top as one of the best Titans defenders that, you know, the franchise has ever seen.
Nate Washington is one of our favorites for a great many reasons, because he makes us smarter and because he's been kind enough to spend some of his Christmas Eve here with us. Nate, I'm going to let you get out of here. Go enjoy your family. We appreciate your time. Has always been so, and obviously we're not quite done with you yet. We got a few more weeks of this regular season to play out here, bud. But I am so grateful that you've spent this year with us so far, and just grateful to have you as a friend, brother.
Oh, thank you for that, Buck. Same to you, man, and I appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and blessings and everything, bro.
That's Nate Washington with us on 104.5 The Zone. Published author. Check out his book. Jackson dropped it in the chat for you. You could use some motivational, inspirational type of reading material. Maybe that'll be my Christmas present to you. I'll buy you a copy of Nate's book.
Oh, I'd love it.
I actually think you would.
I think I would too.
Okay. Maybe that's what we'll do.
I could read like one page at a time. Not the best reader, me.
Just by nature of that sentence construction.
Yeah.
Not the best reader, me.
I think that's the joke.
You know, maybe less time in front of the microphone for you.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes left?
Too much. Last call for phone calls, if you got them. 615-737-1045. We'll wrap the show up for the week. Coming up next. All right. That went surprisingly well. We hit the under on oopsies.
Let's go. You had 2 oopsies.
I had 1.
Forgot the polls. That's 2.
That's not true. I did the polls.
At what time?
That doesn't matter.
Okay, half an oopsie.
Were the polls produced? Since Lucas has been perpetuating this bit for 5 years that I'm actually the one doing the polls because they come from my Twitter account, and we have since changed it so that I have to do the polls now, and I never do the polls.
So this
no, that's why we know that Lucas was doing them before, because they'd actually get done. Now, when it's left to me, I'm like,
they'll get done eventually. 11:45.
It's fine. They got
you had a
done.
whole hour to vote.
So, as we wrap things up for the week, I don't know what's even going to be on the air the next couple of days. You don't know. Where have you been, by the way? Where have they sent you after I got rid of you and thought that I wasn't going to have to deal with you anymore? And for some reason, you're my last line of defense here. Robert is gone. Lucas is gone. I should do that to Lucas one day. Like the next time Robert's out, I should make him sit back there and do the run the show.
That's evil. He worked so hard to get over there. Dude, don't do that to him.
And by my good grace, did I allow him in this room?
Do not do that. That would
so
be...
I reserve the right to send him back.
That would be evil.
Well.
Which, on brand, but come on, man.
It would be delightful. I would get nothing done. It'd be a terrible show. It'd be useless back there. But just for the satisfaction of being able to say, no, why don't you...
When was the last time he was back here?
Ooh. Actually producing the show? It's been a couple years.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go.
I think Robert maybe had an emergency bathroom situation he had to run back there for at some point. Maybe. I don't know.
I want to see you back here.
There was a time in my life where I knew how to do that.
Is it now?
No.
That's what makes it fun. Slay got back here.
I couldn't possibly.
You could figure it out. It's not.
Well, clearly, given the level of talent that we send back there to manage the situation. So, where have you been? What have you been doing? Tell people where you are now, since I've sent you away, and, apparently only when I have literally nobody else to put at back there do I see you again.
I went to the Shadows for a while, hung out with Bert, and then Matt Murphy came and got me. So I hang out with Matt Murphy on the afternoons.
Rescued you from the Shadows,
yes,
did
he threw me a ladder. No, Buck just threw lotion down there and said it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Thought I was going somewhere else with that, didn't you, bud?
Well, knowing you, both options were on the table. I walked in here last night to do Fox at 9 p.m. All the lights were off, and I didn't see a bottle of lotion, but I was concerned.
I was just editing audio, buddy.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Oh, you got no cute rebuttal to that, do you?
I don't. That was a good one.
Sink into this one with me.
I don't really want to. We're dangerously approaching the iceberg. We need to correct ship, Captain.
All right. Well, there is a interesting number of games this weekend, and of course, playoff implications are on the line. We talked a little bit this week, I think both days this week prior to today's show, about the idea of the Jacksonville Jaguars being a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And we kind of got into this on Fox last night. So the Jags, they win 6 in a row. Trevor Lawrence has thrown, I believe it's 13 touchdowns to no interceptions. He is playing the best football of his career. You could question until this past week the level of competition that he's faced because he's beating up on bad teams. But then he goes to Denver and beats Denver. Well, they beat Denver. The Jags are a good football team. The Jags go to Denver and hand the Broncos their first home loss of the season. Trevor Lawrence, again, plays good football. And I was having this conversation with Fitzy last night on Fox where we were talking about who do we definitively believe is the best team in the AFC. The Colts were when they started 8-2 and they had all their pieces and parts, and obviously that's gone to hell in a handbasket. The Broncos are a 12-win football team, as are the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots have an MVP candidate at quarterback. I don't think that the Jets are going to do much to slow them down this week. The 12-3 Patriots are at the 3-12 Jets. The Bills just by nature of having Mad Max at quarterback, maybe you could say, yeah, that's the team definitively that I trust the most. But the Patriots have beaten them head-to-head. Patriots also choked like dogs against the Bills in the second half at home. It leaves you with teams like the Steelers and the Jags, and I wouldn't make the argument that the Steelers are the best team in the AFC, but I might be willing to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, in the last month of the regular season, look like the best team in the conference.
They're surging.
The whole situation for Jacksonville is fascinating. They have a game at the Colts this weekend. Colts are 8-7. They're not eliminated, but they're teetering, obviously. Wait, no. Are they eliminated now?
No, they're not eliminated.
They're still alive. Okay.
Because theoretically,
let me check how many teams are actually actively eliminated. Okay, so we have Titans, Browns, Vegas, Jets, Bengals, Dolphins, Chiefs. So basically it's Baltimore and Indianapolis trying to hold on to their last gasps of hope to make the postseason at this point in time. Both teams in a pretty fraught situation. Texans pulling away from the Colts at 10-5 and playing a critical game against the Chargers this weekend.
Have you thought about NFL inflation? Because 9-7 doesn't get you what it used to.
I like that as a term. Well, yeah, because now it's 9-8.
9-8 doesn't get you what it used to.
Yeah, because the seventh seed in the AFC has 10 wins. The Texans. The seventh seed in the NFC has 9 wins, but they also have a tie on their record. That's the Packers. Carolina, well, okay. If you're in the NFC South, 9-8, still get good bang for your buck.
But the AFC South used to live in 9-7, baby.
Well, that's what me and Robert talked about yesterday. If all of a sudden the Jags are the best team in the division and the Colts have no certain answer at quarterback.
Hey, Phil Rivers.
Get out of here.
He's got 3 more seasons in him, bud.
They need to cut him.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, it's so much fun.
No.
I love it.
It is delightful, and honest to God, I had as much fun watching him yell just basically every check and adjustment imaginable at the line of scrimmage for the vast majority of that Niners game. He literally, I said it yesterday, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was Easton Freeze in our A to Z group chat that said that it's just so much fun to watch him conduct.
Yeah.
At the line of scrimmage. He's just an artist that way.
It's so fun to watch.
But they need to cut him. They need to play somebody else that's actually going to be on their roster, not a 44-year-old high school football coach. Get out of here.
They're all hurt.
Riley Leonard's fine. Put him out there.
Oh, you don't want to see Riley Leonard play.
No, I don't want to see Riley Leonard, but if I'm a Colts fan, I'm pissed at the idea of them just playing out the stretch with Phil Rivers because he's,
one last ride.
No, enough.
Yes, if you're not making the playoffs because of NFL inflation, why not play the old man?
Because he's not going to be on your roster next year.
Well, you don't have a future anyway.
Would you stop arguing with me?
I love arguing with you.
You like being wrong?
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong. You are dead wrong about this.
They have mortgaged their future. You might as well have fun with it while you can, while you might have a winning record.
So a 9-8 playoff eliminated Colts team with Phillip Rivers at quarterback is satisfactory to Colts fan? I'm sure not.
They're not going to be satisfied either way because they're not making the playoffs.
No, they have to be in hell.
They traded 2 first-round picks for a corner.
What fan base feels worse, I wonder?
Titans or Colts?
No. I just mean then the Colts generally. I don't
know.
Maybe Raiders fans. I don't know what the Raiders fan base looks like right now, honest to God. Arizona just kind of feels like it's in purgatory. But I don't know if there's a team that had that had the start that they did and have come crashing back down to earth this way, more so than the Colts. I bet Colts fans are in hell. Anyway, before we do the polls, well, no, let's do the polls. Yeah.
It is time for the polls presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Should Mike McCoy be given real consideration for the Titans head coaching gig? 83% say no, 17% say yes.
17%, huh? That's more than I thought it would be. Momentum.
What would you change the Titans TD song at Nissan Stadium to? Because Ring of Fire is ass.
Yes.
Somebody said Fireball.
I like that.
Pitbull song. Somebody also said, I don't know about a touchdown song, but Titanium would kind of go hard before the start of the fourth quarter, like the Steelers do with Renegade.
What's Titanium?
Like the Sia song.
Sia?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think.
No, surely not. Anyway, I like Fireball. My vote's for Fireball. Honest to God, anything but Ring of Fire, it's awful.
I was completely
As a
wrong.
touchdown song.
It was David Guetta.
Okay.
Featuring Sia. I was right.
Wrong, DJ. No, it still counts as a whoopsie. We're tied 2-2.
All right. Do Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes get a pass for this season? 2 people said yes.
Okay. Very good. That is going to do it for us for the week. Have a wonderful holiday season, whichever holiday it is you're celebrating. We are off tomorrow and Friday. If you want to hang out with me and Fitzy on Friday in for Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington, you can catch us on Fox Sports Radio. If not, enjoy.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas.